Although we have a formula for compound interest, we're going to take a look at the TVM solver in our TI-83 or 84 calculator to help us solve those. You can always verify these with the formula, but it's a good idea to get comfortable with the TVM solver. So in this case, we've got a one-time investment of $4,200. We have an APR of 3.3%. And then be careful about the units on this last one. We're looking at 36 months. So it might be the case that we want to use 36 months, but it may also be the case that we want to convert this to years. It really just depends on what the scenario is. In this case, in part A, we're going to be looking at what happens in the future, how much money is in your account if the interest is compounded yearly. So there's a good chance that we're going to want to use years instead of months here. But we'll just keep that in mind. And if you ever have a number of months and you want to convert it to years, just divide by 12. So 36 divided by 12 gets us 3. All right, so let's go into the TVM solver. So we click on Apps, and the very first one will be Finance. Click on Finance, and the very first one will be TVM solver. Okay, N is going to be the total number of compounds. So in this case, this is where we have to decide, am I using 36 or 3 or something else? Because we're compounding yearly, we can change this to 3. So there are just going to be 3 compounds in total. I, our interest percentage, is going to be 3.3, and you can put it in exactly as the problem has it, so as a percentage. Your present value, well, this is the initial investment that you made, so 4,200 can go in here. PMT, this would be if we're making some sort of regular payment. We are not doing that in this scenario, so that's just going to be 0. We do want to solve for future value, but we got to make sure that these other pieces are also accounted for down here. So payments per year and compounds per year. Okay, well, if we're just doing 1 compound a year, that's going to be 1. And then these payments per year, we could say 1 as well. Usually these two end up being the same, but there are cases where they differ. And then we can make sure that the very last piece of this, when are the payments being made at the end? Okay, well, we don't really have payments, but that will account for when interest is compounding. So in general, we're going to leave this at the end. So then for future value, we click alpha and enter. And what that's going to do is give us the solve button. My calculator, it's in green here. So the alpha just gets us to the green portion of that. So alpha, enter, and then we're going to get 4,629. And since we're dealing with a financial problem, we might as well go to 2 decimal places on this. So 4,629 and 67 cents. Now, if we're compounding monthly, like we're asked in part B, things are going to change a little bit. We can go, let's start back up at N here. So how many compounds are we going to have? Well, we're going to have 36 of those. Our interest is still 3.3%. Our present value is still 4,200. Payment is still 0. But again, we want to double check these PY and CY values. Those should both be 12. In this case, most importantly, that CY should be 12. And then we do the same thing. We just say, okay, for future value, I want to know what I have later on in the account. So alpha and then enter, and we get 46.36. And if we're rounding here, we'd say 45 cents from that. So these values are reasonably close, but one thing that we're going to see is that the more often you compound, the better that is. So compounding monthly, right, every month versus every year, compounding monthly is better for us. We have about $7 more in our account.